how they were using Dukes to go ahead and lead there, though.
Bienvenido, perdón, no, que estaba viendo la cantidad.
He
Bienvenido.
at least had shield, so shield crack usually isn't, you know, enough for everyone to fully commit, but a fresh white
Estamos
tag on the
viendo cómo
opener,
son
that's
cómo
enough to
juegan
get
los
fully
jugadores
pressured
no
out. So
profesionales.
just so happens to work out for them right here and now. And look at this, maybe a little moment here to find some loot, find some leftovers. What can they make of this desperate and terrible situation they found themselves in?
I hope something. I really do. We see Yudden going down to himself in the feed at the same time. Yom's also picking up gold, so we've got some action going on from some of the teams lower down in the leaderboard. As Boga's just going to sit. He's going to rest, think. That threshold has 9 more seconds before he has to start doing something. Now he's starting to get active. The zone's starting to finally pick up. He's starting to go up. He's just thinking, right, we need to get in. If they don't go for this, their game is completely over. They're going to start jumping in. It's Snake who's on the other side. Taken after Chucky, clearly seeing my tweet, but hold on, is that going to be an easy elimination? It is. If they might get the maximum damage headshot onto that, may be able to put them above the threshold. Look at that seems 62 below though. 62 below. No, they're now 51 above. Okay, they may have just clutched this up.
I was gonna say, I think there's also enough loot for them to be okay as well, and they find excess. That's actually massive. Remember, guys, these are also double points here, so like big points here to keep them alive here, extend them, get them one step closer to breaking towards top 17, and they're maybe, I don't want to speak too soon, but they might just be in the clear here from the Storm Surge.
Seems like it. 33 above. With the heals they have, if push comes to shove, they can out heal it at this moment. Obviously, you don't want to do that. This rotate, I was going to say it looks relatively free in terms of the players there, but look at how many people are already set up in the zone. Everyone's already got their eyes open. Boga's now cracked down to no shield. Jukes has been tagged a bit too. It's going to be a rough rotate. Potentially, Duke should take over yet again. Create a path so that Boga can make his way through with that minimal shield that he has. I think they might be okay here, but only down to wood and a little bit of brick is definitely concerning.
Smackwood on height right now. Putting that extra pressure here with Bucky and Peterbot. Disappointing performance for them yesterday, but it's any team's game here today. Talked about a 10 elimination victory out will be the difference to swing a team all the way right back up and make up for lost time essentially here.
That's basically the difference between 11th till 1st if they didn't get any points. So huge if you manage to pick up that kind of win.
Keep in mind, Bucky, Peterbot, and Macward are in 19th place. So in case they do get that victory out, I mean,
maybe you need a bit more than 10 elims, yeah. Enough, but do what he can do is hold on, Jukes.
Oh no.
Trying to get Chunk Chugga tagged, but he's hidden back, and it's Pamstu, the team who they're contesting off spawn. This all comes back together now. We know, remember, they have the gold pump in the inventory. We know that they're locked and loaded with the firepower. Picked up Jukes, now Boga by himself, but they did manage to get top 16. Remember, we said if they get top 16 out of this,
down.
This is going to be huge. Or top 17 at this moment. So top 17, they have managed to get a tons of the points from this. They're shaking down, yeah, and the shot's starting to come out onto Boga. 0 builds to his name. Realistically, they've done enough. Any points after this, it's just icing on top of the cake.
They held Dukes for all that time, by the way. Just to hold him. Just to hold him. And it's the little things. Yeah, it's the little things like that. They're like, yeah, we got you. How do you feel about it? You know what I mean? Just think about that.
Luckily, someone's managed to go down above them on the Storm Surge leaderboard. So now the book is up 7 above. So potentially keeping himself alive a little bit more in here.
Top 17.
Up 17, he made that. Second to go now. We've got to see any placement after this. He gets more and more points. He's just sitting at the backside of the zone with no builds. Can he manage to make it a little bit further? But no, he's found himself stuck about a bunch of the metal. Dom going down on the feet to Rocane too. He's just trying to get Usain Bolt impression on here, but no, he's going to go down the back. Top 17, they claimed a ton of points for them, however.
Definitely a little bit extra. That's the difference maker there to go the additional mile here. On the side, though, Cease Cold and Elite are still up as well. And look at this. They have 5 eliminations, 856 above the surge threshold. They are cruising right now. And honestly, they have the builds to maintain an endgame here. And look at this. The front being led, the charge being led by Cease with the heavy materials. He's got everything that he needs right here. This is exciting for Cease and Trio.
Keep ahead of the zone, creating a good target for them. Cold, looking for eliminations down below, but the floor gets opened up. There's a bunch of
No voy a hablar para escuchar trofeo.
layer, but no, they've got it all locked and loaded. Muzz is popping off in the feed. Visuals also at the same time. Another one of our top 10 teams doing well, but Cold getting tagged onto the player down below. He's weak. He's on that white HP. This should be free eliminations. Do they have the harpoon? Can they get the loot? But no, someone else does this. DJ, and he gets the finish on, but that's actually not the elimination.
Yeah, it's just a down body there. He's going to be able to pick up a couple tags on. So Iamzo is still alive, however, trying to clutch up on his own. Now, this is a player that can absolutely do some big things as a solo. He is definitely known to have that good pre-fire and reaction speed. Let's see how it's going to work out here.
What he can do, he's lining up the angles, lining up the shots. Got himself a nice path. Good refarm, get himself in tiers. The players in the back of the box. He's going to go out the front. Solo Tarp, he knows he's going to have his teammates with him. He's going to play this like a all-star tournament. The reharvest absolutely incredibly important at this moment to get the minimal materials he has left. The wood, the harpoon comes out from the floor, see if he can knock a player down, hit the pump shot, but unfortunately no one's there. Players all around him, seeing what he can do. He's trying to create that extra space, every single placement being so important. Stretch down in the feed today. We'll have to see what he can do as a solo.
Oh, he's looking around. He gets a little bit of zone favor. This might work out for him. But a player's going to jump in the box, and for a second there, it was almost all over, but he was not spotted out. Iamzo still has a moment to breathe here. Now, mind you, every team that falls here gets more points. Can he get some more? Absolutely. Agers gets shut down here. Another player in the box. We talked about his potential. He has not stopped. Down goes Saf as well. And that's a back-to-back elimination there for Iamzo, putting him up inside the top six here now.
Nothing but maximums for Iamzo down as the solo in the back of the zone. Up on the high ground. Macwood's team still in it. Cold still in this long time. It's a full trio. This could be an easy 3v3 finish as long as Iamzo doesn't disrupt what's going on here down on the low ground. He's starting to move through the mid-ground layers, trying to play builds out. The player starts to drop down. He gets the right-hand peek, but he whiffs the shots. Minimums only here. He's going to go for the wall replace, but he has no mass.
Oh my
the player's coming below, and he's picked up.
There it is. He's going to fall there on high ground once again, though. Peterbot, Bucky, and Macwood still maintaining. And look at this. Cold Cease Elite have managed to survive. They're just still alive here. They have the stamina. They're up in the running here. And oh my gosh, 10 eliminations already. I cannot believe what I'm seeing here. A top 3 now for Cease. Just a phenomenal way for them to stretch out the game and make the most of it. As now we start to settle down here. Macwood, Bucky, and Peterbot, there's no way they wanted to throw this game. They took their time here just to stretch to the very end, and it's Muzz on low ground going for the heal off.
Muzz on the low ground. He's got the med kit play popped. He's got the one chug splash. The same. He didn't time it right.
No!
There's no way Muzz didn't time the med kit play right, meaning that Macwood, Bucky, and Peterbot are going to pick up the victory in game number 7 here. How can we see the fumble of the med kit at that point? Either way, this is a huge game for them. Being 29th before, they're picking up a second in this game. The off-spawn change of strategy clearly worked out for them.
And keep in mind as well, these double points mean that it doesn't really matter how bad your day 1 was. These points are going to propel you up so quick. And take a look from our winning perspective of Bucky, Macwood, and Peterbot here. They find the tags onto Josie. We saw what happened with Muzz. They're fumbling the med kit. And just like that, they get themselves a victory royale. They set them up, set themselves up, what was that, like around the 145 or so points. That is not bad at all. It's definitely going to jump them up, potentially even top 5 here.
Let's be real though. Most of our leaderboard's going to shake up big time from day number 1. We saw Cold Elite and Cease with the ones popping off 10 eliminations, but basically every other team was out relatively early in the end game, or just kind of out in the mid game at the same time. So I'm very much excited to throw it back to the desk and see what the leaderboards are looking like.
Don't you even worry about it, Reese. We got you guys covered. We'll take a look as soon as we can. But my goodness, this game was ridiculous, right? This was completely different than the games we saw yesterday. The fact that Slem and History will fall early, that first place team, literally, that's it. We have now chummed the water. There are sharks. Everyone's like, yo, I want a piece of that. Wait, there's also treasure over here. We're just playing different games now. I mean, this is that clip of them falling early. You know what, Vivid? This is kind of what we talked about, right? Falling before you can hit placement points. Now you have to watch everyone else catch up in this instance rather.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, the way that game number 1 went right there, we are in for a very close ending here, because our first two on the leaderboard here, Zlem, TK, and Chucky Ray, they go down there before Sturmsters even start to hit. They don't even get any placement points. Duke, Miro, and Buka, yeah, they gathered themselves a couple of points, but not really many, because they had to, you know, they were reboot and everything like that. As you can see here, there's a huge switch up in leaderboard. If we remember, there was a 60-point lead between Zlem, TK, and Ackerman, between them and second place at the start of the day. Now, they really haven't gained any points, and Cease, Cold, and Elite, off of that phenomenal game that they just had, are actually going to take the lead by 14 points here. So, again, the leaderboard is going to switch up a lot. We saw Commandment, Scented, and Stretch. They also squeeze out some points there with Commandment staying alive all the way down to the top 4 by himself. So, a lot going to switch up. And then even, I'd love to see it, Macwood, Peterbot, and Bucky also squeezing in for a victory route today. I feel like we didn't talk about them at all yesterday, right? We didn't see any crazy performances, but they're out there chilling. We know that they're a very strong trio, and today they're showing up game number 1.
Yeah, it was an incredible first game. And we saw there, we had reboots on the same van from, I think, from Skittles and from Duke as well. We had the likes of Iomzo popping off as well, taking out Sap and Kanada in the same moment as well. You know, I think as well we could, you know, give credit to Muzz, despite the fact they kind of messed up the kind of the med kit at the end there. Yesterday, that entire trio had 10 eliminations for the entirety of games 1 through 6. Today, in this one first game where there's double points, 11 eliminations in the first game, beating out yesterday in its entirety. So that's how things are shaking up now. Things are very different straight away. It's what we wanted, what we expected. Loving it. Absolutely right. And this is why I told you guys at the gonna shake up everything. We already saw this in Europe, all right? That was the first show on the day, and it was an indicator, like, day 2 is gonna be completely different. Oh, right, those solo clutches. That's why we come up with that solo impact score, right? What you can do for your trio when you're by yourself. Single-handedly saying, trio, my trio, don't even worry about it. You guys are gonna be on my back. I'm gonna clutch this up, and now we're gonna take advantage of the double points. But again, I just can't help but think about that first place team, right? Zlem and company going down so early. If this happens again in game number 2, right? And even just the first game, the rest of the lobby has already caught up to them, right? We looked at 200 yesterday and thought, wow, this is an incredible lead. They're so strong, and they've already slipped up one time. What if it happens a second or third time? I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but we'll see. You heard the battle bus, which means we're going back into all of the action. We got Reese, we got MDF, and now we have game number 2.
And that's the thing right there. That little extra bit of points that they had was enough to basically give them a saving grace here in the competition to stay up at the top of the leaderboard, because you saw what happened to Booga. They fell down a ridiculous amount of slots. There were about 3 slots or so, and they made it pretty far. A top 17 is placement point threshold, Reese. So it just shows the difference, right? The points that they earned yesterday were worth it to have a lead, but that's what you get for it.
That is indeed what you get, right? Obviously, they were super consistent on that first day. Really, really good games all around, apart from one a bit of a smelly game in there, our 25th too. You have to ensure that you keep getting into the top 10s on day number 2. Like, nothing is more important. That first day sets the kind of power score. You can have the handicap if we're talking about golf, and day 2 is where it all really matters. With the 6 games, you have to make sure you're being consistent through all of them. And right now, like, they're not starting off. That's their second worst. For Duke, Mir, and Bogan, not the best. But obviously for Cease, Cold, and Elite, man, now placing up into 3rd, 10 eliminations. They're looking super, super strong.
And they've just been finding eliminations too. So picking up from where they left off, honestly, whatever it is that they have been doing lately, it is clicking. A 10 elim, a 13 elim, and another 10 elimination game. So this is their top 3 pretty much elim game that they picked up. All of them being within the top 5 as well. So it seems like when they get going and they make it to end game, they have just basically not stopped, right? They don't look back.
Yeah, they've been picking up those early game and kind of mid game refreshes, like we kind of Vivid said at the top of the show, where they're using the late rotation strat. We kind of caught on to it earlier, one of the later games, obviously, of yesterday. And so spending so much time in zone, but they're just hitting that pad with the Shadow Zone, flying across the map and choosing someone's box to land in. So if they're managing to pull a zone where they're staying in zone, it doesn't really matter. They're hitting those med kits, flying through the sky, landing in a box who's got a roof open. I'd hope by now that the teams in the region know what Cold's team is doing, and they're probably going to try to counter this by just putting a cone over your head.
That's all you got to do. A little more passively, be a little bit more protective of your situation in the game. Iomzo, Nosh, and Degen, though, what a game we watched unfold for them. Degen Saw for a brief moment there, picked off at the back of the storm line, leaving Yamzo to go ahead and work towards those solo impact eliminations like Zeke was talking about. And he did just that. He found not just one, but 2 eliminations and several more placement points. So that's the kind of clutching you need to be able to do, right, for your trio if you want to be the Grand Royale champion.
True. Fingers crossed today. Maybe they can make it as a full trio. They can all pop off, show the crazy skill. I remember Nosh watching one of his ones. Which game was that? One of his games from last season, or maybe even season 7. His nutty pop off in the end game. His mechanical prowess is almost, I don't want to say unmatched on the region, but he's just known for being such a hugely mechanical player. And I want to see them all 3 together in an end game so they can truly utilize the power that they have as a trio.
That's the catch there. Gotta make it to end game. You have to have your team to do it with you. Here's Donnie on the run right now. AV, Deemer, and Eden gonna roll up on him. Now, Deemer, AV, and Eden did pick up a Victory Royale yesterday, and since then have, I'd say, struggled, right? Like in the tournament so far, you can see they're only sitting down at 112, so really carrying the points here, carrying off of their performance from yesterday. I wonder if they can get another Victory Royale, though. They're very much back in this.
This team has really impressed me this season so far. I mean, they picked up an easy fight off spawn here too, capitalizing on the awkwardness of the teams landing to the south of them in Orchard. We'll have to see a quick replay of what's ended up happening earlier on. AV dropping down, hitting the big shots to pick up onto the Knifer. That's how that engagement really started out. And from then on, it's just a easy 3v2 situation.
He got hunted down, put down, and taken out. Kanata's lost here at Believer Beach. Not sure exactly what happened. Probably bit off a little more than he can chew with the wide split over on the drop spot. It's the only thing that I can imagine. But it doesn't seem like Agers and Saf are, you know, too rustled up about it.
Or not. Fingers crossed they can pop off the day. Not only because they're my prediction, but because they're up in 10. You got to think with Agers, Saf, and Canada, this is going to be one of the most highest potential teams on the region, right? In particular with Canada being what a lot of people would say or have previously said is NA East's best player. I don't know how many. I've not been taking polls recently to see if that would still be the case. He's just such an incredible talent to have on your team, and if you put him in an end game in a position to frag out, man, magical things can happen. He's one of the best box fighters in the world, and he just picks up refresh after refresh. This is something I was really impressed from in one of the previous seasons when he was finally joined up with Saf and Stretch. That took that team from just being able to play high ground to now being more versatile, being able to play that mid-ground layers and really frag out, get those refreshes so they could take height later as well. So he was an integral part of that team. And I hope we see something similar today. But again, 10, they got a long way to go till first.
TK's Lem and Chucky also have a long way to go if they want to catch back up now, being that the pressure is on them. And I think reality's starting to set in for this trio, that it's not all sunshine and rainbows here as they are trying to basically bring it home for the final stretch. Cease Cold and Elite, though, they have been as, I don't know, man, as professional as ever with it, honestly. Sticking to the draw spot and finding success after being contested, to me, is just one of those things that I have to continue to highlight, because it was impressive that they did that. And now uncontested, I mean, they figured out the drop, and this is one of the most difficult drop spots that people look down upon season after season, because players haven't been able to figure it out. But it seems like the way the map, I guess, meta is working out, right? It creates viability here that I think makes this a hidden gem now, right? And folks didn't quite catch on to it until I think after they walk away with the results from this tournament.
Yeah, we saw good things successfully coming out from EU as well from this drop spot. So both regions, both the major regions, showing huge success from a drop spot that I've memed throughout the entire year. If you've ever caught on to one of my broadcast prep streams, not just trying to self-promote here, I'm actually just making a relevant point. I've memed every single time going, the team who lands Coral Castle not going to do well. I think it's very fitting that the final FNCS tournament of the year, this is now one of the best drop spots on the map because of that rotation.
And no one saw it coming.
I didn't, I'll tell you that.
Well, the pro players sure did, and here we are. Saf and Aegis, though, have to be very, very careful. Aegis gonna get dived on. 3v1 situation. Not much you can do there. He is gonna find himself a big exchange there, allowing Saf to go ahead and find one of the three. Can he get the follow-up? Oh, the missed edit. He's gonna be upset about that one. That would have been a key opportunity for him there. These are his builds, though. Almost, but not close enough there. Can he get this follow-up?
Want to see him hit the shots. He's been chunked back in return. No, the charge
Close.
not going off, unfortunately, and that's going to be Slam who manages to pick that up. Plague goes down. Bryce or Cam. Too many flu. There's a lot of flu going on here. These guys must be really sick. It was a Slam, Cam, Plague, Cam, and Bryce at the same time managed to win this fight out.
Aegis, Saf, and Kanata came into this game at 10th place. Here's what things are looking like on the other side. Cam just hopped in. They just saw Aegis was by himself. They didn't hesitate.
Yeah, that awkward angle there from Saf is what really threw it off. That ramp just totally threw him. He had the edit. Potentially, if he was a little bit... I'm thinking that might be in a bit of a rushed angle there. If he'd taken the time just to get that wood wall, or with the wood ramp away, he could have had a better angle on the wall to hit the shots. Potentially a little bit of a panic. Was it his ramp? Oh, that's even worse.
I'm pretty sure those were all his builds. He walked right in.
That's a rough one for him then. Yeah.
I think looking beyond that, though, the first edit that he missed, like, he had the player wide open. That would have been the shield crack and really would have been winnable at that point. So I guess that just kind of stresses the importance of, yeah, mechanical skill sometimes, just being the difference maker.
Saf has some of those crazy aim too. He's got, as we saw in some of the pieces, he has some of the best reaction times on top of that. So sometimes, you know what, the best of the best also miss the really important shots that they need to. They can end up missing you out. Some crucial ones.
It's going to be a big one. Jack Slash and Acorn, though, holding on right now. 171. You can see the top 5 on the leaderboards there. They are just outside watching from the outside looking in here. They're coming in at 8th place. They pulled a 22nd in the last game, so just barely making it past the first placement threshold and then not quite surviving that second surge warning that we saw give Bugha and his trio a big issue.
If you have this game, though, managed to make it in. One elimination. I guarantee I know how that happened. Flying through the sky, landing straight on the Bony Burbs team. They've also, you can clearly see how much white HP they've lost in this process, but look at the refresh they managed to get out of it. So much. So many tags at the same time. This game not necessarily being the most stacked out of it, right? Down to 86 so far. The players getting a little bit more aggressive. The second game of the day, always being that more aggressive. This is a little replay of the fight that we missed. They landed on this team, managed to get that knock you see there, and this is the finish they got through onto Cam. Or to Vert, sorry, it was Vert. Too many slams, too many flus. Easy to get them mixed up, but it was Vert who ended up going down there, who thought they had a good position, but unfortunately when you get landed on from up above, it doesn't always work out that way.
And it's crazy to think about it too, right? Because from Coral, they made it to Bony Burb's center high ground position and just deleted that team.
Yup.
It's almost like nowhere is safe, but got to do your homework, right? You have to be prepared coming into the season, the meta, the way things can work out, and you know, it's just the price you pay.
Yes, indeed. Back on with Chucky, TK, and Zlem, the team who were in first, coming into day number 2, but unfortunately that first game is 0-point match, meaning they lost that lead. I want to see them pop off again, though, see if they can really start fighting for it. That final game on day number 1, they got 16 eliminations and a victory royale. These guys are clearly capable of huge performances. And this is the team that they're trying to overtake, Cease Cold and Elite, who have already picked up a single elimination this game, furthering the gap. Trying to get further, even ahead now, going on to Scope's team as well. We'll see how that strategy is playing out for them here when the Storm Surge resets. They've got 41 above here. So it has worked out for them yet again, game after game, choosing a victim to land on here. But it's not over yet. They do still have to deal a couple damage, and we do still see Scoped still behind here. Now trying to trade shots back onto Cease. I'm wondering if this is going to be an engagement that just continues to happen.
Yeah, and this is a rotate through the zone that they have to make as well. So it's the worst type of position to be in. You're in the front here trying to conserve material and just make it to the new zone. Then you have players in the back there trying to hold out, but they are going to find some big tags onto Scope. Might be just enough to pause them down, and yes, it is. They're gonna have to shut down. Elite loses his shield as well to the hands of Blake there that was leading the gunpoint, but it's okay. It seems like they have a small opportunity here. Now, they are only at 100 damage above the surge here. And I was going to say, Cease is probably contemplating the launch pad. They're going to use it. They're gone. They're out. And off they go to the new zone.
On the rotate, Buzz's team. I'm going to say looking more healthy this game in terms of their positioning. They're finally above the Storm Surge. Didn't get into a fight. But 57 above, the heal's starting to rapidly decline on Bogomir and Jukes, and another tag starts to come through. He now has no minis in the inventory. I'm not sure Jukes or Miro have any either to pass him along, but you don't want to be wasting the chug splashes this early. He's potentially going to go for the waste, the big pot. A peek with 11 shield is a risky play. In particular now, you got to think if you see like a burst AR, big headshots start to come through, in particular from that mythic variant, could really be over for Booga here. He's playing a very risky game, not popping those heals before rotating, but you can see on the zone in the bottom right, there's already 2 teams in an engagement trying to fight right where they're in the path of, and another team trying to third party that. So they could use this opportunity to get into the zone while everyone is distracted, and even maybe pick up a third party to pick it up, and it's actually Muzz's team who's engaged there. It's very successful in the previous game, getting second.
Looks like things are about to get really complicated here as Duke, Booga, and Miro come out guns blazing into the fight that's already going down. And yes, they are going to need it here. They don't want to fall behind the surge, especially leading into the next threshold here. And not to mention, who doesn't want a little extra loot for teams that are under some pressure right now? It seems like they want to play this aggressively, stepping up to the plate here, but the punishment comes in. Miro gets tagged first. There's a team on the side. That's Bank there on the run now.
This is your FNCS, your current FNCS champions going up against each other. Maz going up against Mira and Booga, ex-teammates. Also with Bank Teller's team in the middle mixed in here, and he's going to get tagged, going to get not picked up quite yet, but hit down to super weak. Duke's going to play that aggressive, trying to get involved with the fight, but Booga comes from the side, picks up and finishes that full trio onto Bank now, which means that Maz's team is still in here. They picked up a couple of eliminations too, so a great game for all of our current FNCS champions.
Not only that, Muzz and company are going to see the names in the feed and immediately disengage right there. That is not a team you want to fight, especially since they're up at the top of the standings right now. For Cold, Elite, and Cease, they've already migrated to the new zone. They burned that launch pad. We saw them do that, and it seems like they have not found a campfire or the whites to bounce back in the game with the HP just yet. That should be their next priority right now. We'll see if they end up playing towards one.
See where they go. All of our top teams on the edge not yet rotated in a lot. Basically, the top of the leaderboard all having a rough time in this mid-game so far. Lem's team making it into the edge, but no one getting super deep into the zone because most of our top teams are basically very far away from this. Lem's team coming from Pleasant Park. Cease's team coming from, obviously, way up in the northwest of Coral Castle. Misty Meadows for Booga's team, which should be an easy rotate, but they take so long to loot, like we talked about yesterday, not the efficiency. I would hope and pray right now that we do see, obviously, I've totally blanked on their name. There we go, Slackseeker and Jack in a good position, given they are the Sludgy Swamp team. I would really hope to see them somewhere near center or third here.
Can Slim, TK, and Chucky here complete the ritual and get back into the swing of things right now is the question.
3 elims
getting
helps.
Close.
Yeah.
I was going to say, they're getting close. These are some big points. Remember, these 3 elims are worth, what's that, 12 points, right? 12-point swing then.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's doubled up here. Oh, pressure's on to Cease and Elite on the edge of zone. If there's a team that you need to focus on, it's this one right here. Cease is going to lose the shield, and it looks like Zlem is not looking to give this one up just yet. Setting in the fire.
First v second right now.
Oh, they're getting pushed up right now.
Snakes pushed in. Elite's goes down, so Elite is down. That seems like Cease is starting to get chunked away too. Cold at the same time,
down.
Trying to disengage. That's Cease fully finished. Our first place team all now left as a solo, with Cold being the only one there. Snake and Accept right next to him as well. And he's now gonna have to pick up what he can as a solo. On the bottom right, you see Booga's team still in it too. On the bottom left,
Chimp
third
found
place team Nosh still in here too. No, that's Cold out. That's our first place team out. They did manage to get the first threshold of placement though.
They get the first threshold of placement. They found a couple of eliminations to give them a little bit of buffer and some room for the other teams to go ahead and close in on. But Iamzo, Deemjet, and Nosh, they're close. They're healthy. They have what they need to make an end game here. We obviously saw Chucky Slim set up for success as well. Here's a look at the replay so you can see it. how it went down. Elite just gets caught through the builds there, tries to make the edit out, but the pressure from the other side of the wall was just not enough. Cold couldn't escape either. And that is how quickly the story has developed here now. Our first place team is officially out of the game. They barely had a lead. All right, they just got up there.
Live by the late rotate, eliminated by the late rotate. It's going to come full circle at some point. Unfortunately, their plan, we said yesterday, was put into action. It works so well sometimes when you manage to get yourself into a good position on the zone. But if you get stuck further behind in the zone on those deeper rotates, third, fourth zones, it just can so easily mess them up. And it's worked so well for them. But I want to see them potentially clutch this back up. Miro now taking some crucial shots onto Day, ex-teammate up above, an ex-FNCS champion with him. This is currently 4th place. Well, 6th place shooting up into 4th place. The top teams now nearly all making their rotates in, obviously except CC's team, which we saw drop out. Big leaderboard shakeups about to come from this game.
Saw there for a moment, Dukes is putting some pressure onto this Lemon trio, making their rotate much harder, forcing them around the outskirts, and I think they might have lost a player in the process as well. Your pick for the day, Jamper in Tragics, finding several amounts of eliminations in the feed already. I do wonder, is there a room for them to jump back into this? Is there room for them to go ahead and find themselves with a victory royale, possibly just off the elims? They could probably overtake a top position now that teams are falling.
We'll see, but the TK down, Zlem losing a ton of his HP alongside.
Not looking good.
Chucky too. They do have the heals. They got the med kit, hopefully, for Zlem. Yeah, they both do, so they get healed up big time. They're probably going to be in a favorable zone position for 5th. Let's see if that's true or not. They do. They pull the 5th zone.
Whoa.
So they're okay. So they should be okay for now, getting that top 27, even maybe a little bit higher than that as D-Roller pops off the feed onto Cobalt and Diminished. I'm sitting thinking here that, again, they have plenty of builds. They could probably make this through first, even into the second moving zone, but no, the pressure's starting to come out from other players. The whole lobby's got eyes on them. Unfortunately, them being in zone means that every single team wants a piece of their action, piece of their pie. The placement, they are in zone. And it's not looking good. He's down to 32 HP. Chucky also down to under 50. Build's starting to dwindle. It's about to be down onto wood, and that's going to be everyone's springs. Lem start to pick up now. Chucky is a solo. He managed to pop a medkit, but he's 4 HP. No, that's our 2nd place team. Our 2nd place team's down. Our 1st place team is down. DJ Nosh Nyomzo in 3rd. Jamper Dane Tragics in 4th. Alongside Stretch's team in 5th and Booga's team in 6th. It's all still in this. This is about to be shaken up.
What are the odds you get focused right then and there? For Zlem, TK, and Chucky, man, they had the opportunity of a lifetime to go ahead and bounce back. Look at the standings currently. DJ, Nosh, and Yamzo have caught back up. They are now at 237 points. They might as well be above and in 1st place at this point. I don't see them falling. Look at their material counts completely maxed out. They get the rewards, the spoils of Zlem's loot. It is all inside the box here, quite literally delivered to them.
Beautiful again as a duo. 7 eliminations on the Omzo. He's been fragging.
Wow.
And 9 eliminations as a full trio.
Wow.
Think of how many points that is. Just
This
think
early.
about it. Because it's 36, because my mental managed to catch up. It was a little bit
high.
low.
Look at high.
Backward and Pierbo up there again. Are they going for the back-to-back? Are they going for the back-to-back victory royales? They have 5 eliminations, which is the same amount of eliminations they got in the previous match so far. They've already got that going into moving zones. They're stacked on loot. They're stacked, I was about to say on ammo, but 130 on weapons and everything else. This could be a back-to-back for Macwood, Peterbot, and Bucky, and a huge comeback on the leaderboard.
Ladies and gentlemen, pay very, very close attention to this high ground hold here. They are so structured up, well above the rest. No one's even close to being able to contest them. It looks like they have everything working in their favor now. If they manage to go back-to-back, the way the format of day 2 worked, I mean, it doesn't matter how good your day 1 was. This is the day you need to play well, and Bucky and company could very well put themselves way up at the top here. You saw how many points they had, 190. They were in 19th place in game number 1. And all of a sudden, consistency, back-to-back, and they are right in the running like they never even left.
That it is. We've got the harpoon coming up from Yomzo, picking up some more loot, keeping that moving. He's stacked on materials, 132 builds, completely ready to play this end game as a full duo. If you want to succeed, pick up some cracked, very young player. It's worked for EU players, it's working for NA East at the same time. He's fragging out this game. Back over to Macwood, Peterball, and Bucky, who have lost the high ground. Unfortunately, the first moving has not been for them. He's managed to get back up with his teammate in a nice mid-ground layer here. The material is still stacked into the inventory. Should be a pretty deep run for them unless they truly have a
Book us down. Book us down. Booga gets knocked in the feed there after finding a single elimination. Miro goes down as well. And you can see Booga gets completely finished there on the backside of zone. Degen and Yamzo, however, are still alive as a duo right now. Pressure's coming in here. That's from second height. They're going to possibly have to switch or look to change layers. No, they're going to stick to it here because they have the heavy mats. They're fully committing here. Yamzo playing that back portion. That backup player here, support player, closing the tarps here.
Doing what he can. Matt's only down to Wood because they are as a duo. If they're a full trio here, this should almost be a home run. But on height, it's Jack, Slacks, and Acorn looking to make a huge comeback in the second day, even after being so good in that first day. They are on a redemption arc after not making it to finals last season. The big shots come through with the Yomzo. That's an 8th elimination for him, and it's down to Cam. 10 for the team so far. Yomzo definitely the MVP of this match so far. So many points gained on him as the solo. Now they're just back into their old tarp, able to keep walking.
What's so impressive is that they're committing to the second height here, so they definitely have eyes on the prize. They do not want to be down low, but they are putting themselves at risk here because Jack, Acorn, and Slacks are looking down on them. They are going to be the first target every single time when it comes down to who it is that they're going to focus from high ground. Bucky's going to find one on the low ground. Great tags there. The full finish off the Thatch. Now, in comes the rotate to the new zone here. They're also a two-man operation here. We lost the fresh and young Peterbot. It's just the veterans of Bucky and Macwood. Oh, I was going to say, did he get another Elim already?
It is fat. No, it's just a little bit behind here. Macwood, yes, Bucky up to 3, so that was. He picked up Pam's 2 as well, finishing off the full trio. Yomzo still in this. 0 materials. They're looking for the harpoon. He's thinking about it. Is he going to jump in? The one wall broken. If he goes to that next one, few players through there, he's going to drop down below.
Oh, they didn't realize.
Into the box. They don't know there's a player up above, but they've got the edit through. It's chunked him down. He's cracked. Oh my God. He's hitting the 97 shots. Is he going to harpoon? But no, he's run out of the ammo for it. The edit's his. Degen is still with him. The duo playing side by side, pumps out. See if they can click on some heads. He's going to go for the medkit play. He's no mouse. He knows how to do it. I think it's timed extremely well.
Hola, niños.
That was close. We'll see if he ends up sticking it out here.
Hola, pana, bienvenido.
However, the full path here to get to new zone. He's going to take a different route. Yamzo's in a box with another player. That's the enemy down. He should have probably went for the
Quieren dulces.
Lo agradecería si te suscribes.
Doesn't matter. On the other side, Day now is alive as a solo here, trying to time the medkit. This is going to be a very difficult medkit to pull off here. That's not going to be good enough unless he's completely inside the zone. Oh, he figures it out. He cancels on accident. The pressure a little too real.
Slacks up in the high ground. I think he was just fishing. I could be mistaken. I swear I saw a fishing rod coming out from him up on height. We'll see what he has to do. Jack's starting to drop down. He's got that charge shotgun lock loaded. He hits the shot. That's the finish. Potential choke for him. The overcommit happens. Slacks gonna now drop down the low ground. The finish comes through. He doesn't get the siphon. The player hitting the box. Oh, he picked up as well. Pick up the victory with a heal off on high ground from Acorn, Slacks, and Jack.
For a second there, I thought there was going to be just enough time for the siphon to come through, but it's not. Instead, Acorn, Slacks, and Jack managed to pull it off. Take a look at the highlights, though. Yomzo going crazy here, nearly approaching 10 eliminations, and this is Day's perspective. It was Day who had those great angles. It was Day who was still alive there. What in the world?
Huge clutch up from Day.
Oh my gosh.
He was 4th
XD Frosty.
game started. Slacks, Acorn, and Jack were down in 8th. So this is going to hugely switch up the leaderboard. I'm thinking, just going to put it out there.
Vayas a este canal.
In our leaderboards.
Yes, absolutely. We are going to have a new leader in our leaderboards. There's no other way. Our number 1 and 2 teams fell early. Both of them did have team wipes, however, which are worth a valuable amount of points, but I don't think it's going to be enough. You saw those big games from teams that are consistent at the top. And that's the story. Our teams that were inside the top 20 that have woken up today, decided to play very well. They're excelling here, and the points are going to prove it. We're going to toss that over to Desto so we can get the number breakdown here.
Bienvenido a todos.
Sometimes Monster D-Face just takes all the words that I was going to say and says them way better than me. So I'm just going to toss it to you guys and hear what your thoughts are on the end of that game.
My thoughts can be summarized basically in one word. Yomzo. Huh? because that guy was going
Didn't even care.
absolutely crazy. Ended up having like 8 elims, I think, on his own. And I think for a total, his trio had like 10 or something like that. Like, he was just putting in so much work in the end game there, even getting that med cut off at the very last second. And yeah, as you can actually see here, I was expecting Slacks, Acorn, and Jack to be on top of the leaderboard, but no, it's actually Degen, Degen. I just
Almost did it.
Oh, you did it. No, I mean, I said it.
Did it.
It just rolled right off the tongue. Degen, Nosh, and Yamso, man, 273 points, a 10-point lead. But listen, the highlight here is that the difference between all of these tiers, right? 10 points between first and second, and then only 5 points between second and third. Everybody is caught back up. We basically just like restarting the competition almost, and these last 4 games are going to make everything just so close.
Yeah, there's like 55 points between 9th position and 1st right now, which is incredible. We saw that in that last game as well. You know, we saw Bucky, Peterbot, and Macwood try to do the same thing as game 1, get the high ground early, but Acorn, Slacks, and Jack came through and managed to maintain all the way through to the end there. Hence, they're in 2nd position right now, only 10 points away, which is kind of really like 2.5 eliminations, which is next to nothing in this format here. But we can see them here performing exceptionally well. We said that these guys coming into this, they thought that they were in a good place. They've certainly come out swinging in day number 2 here. It was a good day yesterday. Today, they're following up. They're following suit here. And I think we're seeing already in this high ground position as well, they're managing to kind of ensure that they're going to be there or thereabouts in the end game in those top 5 or 6 positions, which is what is so valuable now because the standings count for so many points towards your top score here. But, you know, Vivid, a team like this as well, who they've been around the block, they know exactly what they need to do in these certain situations. How is this experience playing such an important factor, do you think, right now?
Listen, I had mentioned in our pre-show, actually, I was like, yeah, no surprise that they're not really getting many victory rounds, right? They usually play the mid-ground, yada, yada, yada. Game 2, they're on height, and they get the victory round. So I'm pretty sure they were just, like, watching. They were like, yeah, just going to shut this guy up real quick and show him a victory royale. So quickly, they put themselves in the 2nd position. But, man, Bucky, Peterbot, and Macwood, though, playing out of their minds as well. Didn't see, like, anything out of them in day 1. And then they come out day number 2, victory royale 1st game, and then a 2nd place on the 2nd game, so they are playing out of their minds.
Yeah, I think you know, go back to Yomzo as well. You have certain players in certain trios who can come through with that clutch factor we talked about a ton and get loads and loads and loads of points with the likes of these eliminations. And to have 8 on your own, I think he had like 5 eliminations in the space of like 3 or 4 minutes, which is unheard of. But you have someone who can do that in a team. It makes a massive difference when it comes to the leaderboards, particularly in this kind of format.
100%. And of course, I mean, I got to talk back once again. We got Cease, Cold, and Elite, right, being eliminated there early. And we're seeing it again, right? These trios that were doing so well in day 1, they're just not getting that traction here in day number 2. But it's okay, right? Like, these are just the first 2 games of the day. We have another 4 out ahead of us. So they really need to pick up the pace. Something has to go. And honestly, guys, there's a lot of pressure on these trios, right? Especially kind of coming in and saying, well, this is a Grand Royale. There's a lot of money on the line, and this is a 2-day format, which for some of these trios, they may not necessarily be used to or as experienced with. And now you're telling me that you're kind of like layering double points on top of that? There's a lot of pressure, right? So I'm kind of hoping to see that these trios will pick up the pace. They'll say like, okay, those first 2 games, let's pretend those didn't happen, right? This is a 4-game format. Let's try to do something right here, right now. But you guys heard the battle bus, which means we got to kick it back over to my better half, Monster D-Face, and Reese up. Let's get it, boys.
Thank you, Zeke. It looks like, honestly, we've reached somewhat of an intersection here, right? Like, we're at a crossroads right now. The standings have changed tremendously. None of the teams that we started off with are playing up to the caliber that we basically expected them to carry into today, right? Because now there's a ton of new teams at the top, Reese.
There's been a whole new switch up. The top 4 is completely different at this moment. Obviously, we did have Zlem, TK, and Chucky being up there after that first day, but they've started to drop down into 6th place so far. DJ, Nosh, and Yomzo. After that huge pop-off from Yomzo, they haven't even managed to make it into a top 5, but just fragging ability is so good, and that's just carried them up into that top number 1 slot.
11 eliminations after that last game in the 7th place. You're just seeing how the elims are an actual game changer right now. They're amplified. The weight that they carry here in the finals now is just incredible. Allowing them to build up a 10-point lead. I mean, it's not much, but considering where they were yesterday and sitting where they are now, this is a big way to jump back up. And I can't believe we have 4 games in front of us. And, you know, we already have new teams to look out for, potentially root for now as we start approaching the final stretch.
doing. There's so many. You got the newcomers, more like Yomzo, a guy who's been on the rise for a couple seasons now. His name, you know, you just see him popping up tournament after tournament, making finals, making these set lobby environments. Now he has a chance to run and gun for that first place slot, the championship title in the biggest FNCS of the year. This is a good time to be on your peak, I must say, and I feel like he's been getting a lot of respect from the players in the NA East region across this later half of the year, and it shows why right now after that incredible pop-off.
At this point, you have to put respect on the players. There's no way, no way other to cut this pie here. I did want to talk about, though, just talking about, said like new names popping up, but the standings are actually all veterans. Skittles, Justice Users, Duke, Miro, Booga, D-Roller, Speggle, Charlie, Commandment set to stretch, Slam TK, Chucky, okay, maybe, but no, not really. Vet still too. Seas Cold, Elite, everyone inside our top 10, literally, have been here well over a year competing. These are our most consistent players that we've had in this scene. Some of them, dating back as early as the beginning, right? The conception of actual competitive. So to have them inside the day 2 format thriving, I mean, I feel like it makes sense.
Yeah, we just saw their jumpers. Fortunately losing both of his teammates, so he's down to a solo. We'll check back in with that in a minute to see exactly how that happened. As they move back over to the north of Risk Real, Mudsy's fight, getting the Shadow, a fight that we saw happening a ton yesterday. Both the teams not able to really climb back up the leaderboard too much because of it. See almost 3 builds left onto Muzzy. He's going to connect some of the shots, but traded back in return. Minor is starting to go down on his team. Savage now also really low on the opposite side of the wall. They've got the down at this moment, but Shadow up above. He's looking way healthy. He's hitting the white tags. He's going to start to get in that progression, but is he going to be able to hit the 1v2? His teammates now there with him. Spray comes through the finish. That's important. That's a 4-point swing. Can they start to aggress onto the walls and really got to finish this fight quick, given they have almost no materials? These other teammates are starting to heal up big time.
Now, mind you, every team still has a realistic chance to go ahead and jump back into this. And once you start getting towards that top 10, that's where the real money kicks in. So either way, you want to be taking the best fights possible all the way through to the end. And this is looking good right now for Shadow. Beautifully done there. Right camera. The proper angle here. It's going to work out very, very well. And they're going to get the full team wipe onto Mudsy's team there in Udent. Well played for them.
Well played indeed. They knew that they needed to keep being aggressive at that moment, keep pushing on in to ensure that fight didn't allow them to heal on, use the big pots that they had, which now means that they've netted them for their inventory, which is very, very nice. We've got the leaderboard on the far left. Just to note that this leaderboard is live, so it's not the leaderboard that came into the game. This is exactly where the players are on the leaderboard right now. Slack, Saker, and Jack in 263, the team that we're currently watching, looking to make a run for their second FNCS championship after winning in Season 6. I want to see
People don't
how.
realize how hard it is to win a singular FNCS, let alone win 2. And as we've seen for some, 3 upwards of 4 major tournaments, like we saw in EU. But look at this, a highlight here from Day as he falls, sniped out of the sky there.
What's that aim? That must be D-Roller's team, right? Just spraying them out of the sky from the cami split. This happens all the time with the bus paths that go from players jumping out on the west and they fly over that cami split. It has such a high elevation, it gives them so many good angles to spray them out of the sky. Very Dogs has had a really rough time as of this season because of that change, and right now 2 knocks out of the sky on Day's team. That was honestly, that is rough for them, and it tells a lot about the aim on D-Roller's team.
Yeah, mega unfortunate, honestly. It's touchdown to be, that setback, if you want to call it that. And there's a world where that becomes unrecoverable, right? Like, if they decide to get the full thirst and then push in, like, they might as well hunt for the solo at that point and then take the loot, right? Like, take the loot from Dirty Dogs. Like, there's no other reason not to if they can gather up together.
That's the common strat. That's what that generally goes on there. The strategy's not so common, though. Driving the car. Hey, I talked about this yesterday. Driving the car into their base, blowing it up, trying to ruin the builds. They're really starting to dwindle away at the builds down below. We see AV with the chili chug splashes, which means that they've managed to pick up a llama, which means that they have a ton of ammo to sit and spray. Almost definitely more ammo than materials of Donnie's team down below, which means that they're just going to be able to stay up, keep their distance. And man, if you're Donnie's team right now, you're pushed, trapped all the way down below in the basement. There's really literally nowhere you can go from here, and you can see 10 builds dwindling away.
Yeah, they're starting to gas out here. Avian company as well, though, second guessing of whether or not all the ammo they put in is worth it. Once there's, I was gonna say, once they start seeing the wood, then things will change. But for a second there, and mind you, Knifer's the one holding on to all the big mats there, guys. So he's gonna go down first. This is a big knock here. They got the tags they're looking for. They get the full thirst there and the elim. They want to secure the loot here. Can they get to it? Doesn't look like it. Instead, they're gonna pressure Donnie into the corner. He's trapped, but AV gets punished.
Bit of an overextend, same with Eden there, but junked off. I don't think it's going to happen too well. Eden picks up Simple here. Donnie now fully finished. That's a full trio wipe for them. 3 eliminations coming through. Their surge ticked off. A little bit of a late rotate to go through, but as long as they can get the materials back, this should be okay. There's a lot of metal in this spot, at the dish spot, the dinky dish right to the south. Their drop spot, they should be okay for that. If they focus on that, then dip on out. They've got a good game ahead of them, I can tell.
Huge defensive capabilities there from Donnie. Great job there, but not enough to maintain here. Nosh, on the other hand, getting pressured here on their rotate. They're dead set in the river here. About 2 or 3 trios can potentially have sightlines onto them. They're going to be one of the more southern teams, though, that we see here. I'm curious, is that Booga and crew still at the Misty Meadows? If so, this could be a disastrous game for them because all the other teams are set up on the mountain. So if they're still sitting and lurking behind, then I don't know if things are going to look too hot for them because the surge is surely coming, right? We have 88 players up right now.
I think so, and I think it's time for our every broadcast south zone. What you need to do if it goes to a misty zone. If you're on the south side, you're absolutely chilling because you can tag a ton of the people who start rotating past. But that's later on. That's when it comes to the second and third zones. For now, the majority of the players are going to be clustered in the center map hills, which means that if you're to the south now, there's not that many players that you can tag up on rotating. Here we go. This is Booga's team indeed is still in Misty Meadows. Their loot seemed to be a little bit low, so I feel like they were in an engagement that potentially could have been with Hamstu Carry and Fatch's team, who we just saw obviously lands to the west side of this. I do expect more materials from them at this moment.
Crucial and critical tags right there from Booga. He's going to find a 60 piece, another 20 there, another one as well. Okay, Booga's just on fire right now. Tracking the accuracy. It's looking very good. Shot from behind, though, as well. You have to be careful now. There is a team up on the mountain there too, so definitely pinched. Peterbot's gonna find Slem with a knock in the feed there. Huge. That's a major fight going down right now. Peterbot gets the finish as well. What happened there? We'll definitely get the update, but my gosh, it's going down right now.
Yeah, Acorn's team going up into the sky. They're starting to get the big chunk off. There's the shot starting to connect through. It's Crackly they've picked up using the same strategy that Cease's team has been using those shadow cube sloppers. I know a lot of players on EU don't like utilizing those strategies, basically because Boop will ban you from customs if you do it. You will no longer be able to play, so they're not practiced as much in it. So when it comes to the FNCS finals, anything is possible.
It's almost counterintuitive. It's like, yo, but wait, they didn't practice practice this on us before. Like, what's going on?
Well, generally, people won't be as aware of that strategy because they haven't practiced every single tournament. It seems like a lot of the players, not everyone, obviously, players have been using it in cash cups, but not to this extent, like to do the one where you jump out of the water, you can fly across the entire map and play it from so high. I think a lot of people, including like Cease, have been saving this for this stage when it comes to this level of tournament and just dominating with it.
We've seen that before. We've seen teams quite literally hold on to strategy until the majors, essentially, right? Are pulling things out. So would not surprise me if teams are going that far, especially someone like Cease. Cease is very meticulous. He's been around for a long time. He gets it. He knows the do's and don'ts. So if he had a little trump card up his sleeve, be curious. But it looks like Chucky and Slem only got in as a duo. This is mega unfortunate out the gate. But not only that, then of course we saw Slem fall to Peterbot there. And yeah, look, there's an uneven number up top, so pretty rough.
It's all left to Chucky. We'll see quickly here how he ended up losing Slem. From Chucky's POV, obviously we saw it go down in the feed, but let's actually see what happened here. The harpoon out the bush! Are you joking me? Huge clutch. The harpoon comes through. Slem out the sky. The one comes through and it's over for him. That is so unfortunate. Oh my.
I'm very happy you guys played it twice because I was going to say, run that back. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to see that again. Just to make sure what I saw was correct and my eyes were not deceiving me. That, oh no, the worst way to get caught out there. Now the thing is though, people forget bushes do make noise every now and again, right? And if you're paying hyper attention, you'll hear the little rustle, right? The ruffle in the leaves.
Quick tip, if you ADS your pump all the time, you don't make any footsteps, which you do make while you're still crouch walking. So if you ADS while crouch walking, you make 0 noise, including in a bush. So do that.
That's like a high-key hidden gem right there.
It is. You only get that on the FNCS broadcast with Resub. No, you get that basically anywhere.
Hola Edu.
It is an important fact to utilize, especially if you're crouching around a building. Staying zoomed in.
Hola, ¿cómo están? Bienvenido.
I know a lot of players don't utilize it the way that they could. If you ever see someone sneaking up to you and you're like,
Yo te eres nuevo.
all the time,
Hola,
it's just because they're doing that.
bienvenido.
Makes a lot of sense. Look at this, though. The pickup does come through. Chucky manages to get Zlem back into the game here. And now they're not going to use the strategy to go ahead and go mega high here and get a really, really deep rotate, but instead they're just going to play the outskirts here because remember, they still need a little loot. So they can find some scraps, they can get some leftovers here from any of the POIs. I mean, they're going to be extremely happy here. Wait.
Yeah, 350 below. See the wood builds. This is the time to tag. This could be even to be an elimination, but no, the team's starting to go from the mid-map, hitting the shots too. He's down to 31 HP, picked up through the turbo build. Zlem now left as a solo. He's been rebooted. He gets 50 damage, which we saw as the counter started to change, but he's still got a ton more to work with now as he's 350 below. Way back in the zone, make that 450 below now. We know the amount of congestion at the edge of the zone. Will he be able to make this in? Yes, he should easily. But he's not got a lot to work with here. No shotgun, 30 AR bullets, 66 SMG. That's wraps.
Estás viendo las finales.
There's Steve looking for you, buddy.
You are
That's
wanted,
a rough
man.
one. Well, look, a ton of players did fall already, so with the multiple medkits he has,
De la
a couple of heals, I
FNCS.
think he'll be okay to
Sí.
jump back into this, but it's not going to look too hot at the end of it. Top 27 is going to be rewarded here, and we might just see that team again. Chucky, TK, and Zlem here just not earn any points.
Okay.
Not earn many points is what I should be saying.
Thing is, you know, the double point format makes it difficult, definitely, for the teams not to form the day two. But even if it wasn't double points, I still think the same thing would be happening, where you need to be consistent throughout all of the games, and then they've just not been putting on the show that they need to for an FNCS finals winning team.
I agree, but it's not over yet.
Obviously, I ain't calling them out this early. Definitely clutch up again with the double points. The Omzo's team with DGen and Nosh definitely in a more rough spot. We saw them get into a ton of mid-game engagements in the previous match, which favored them heavily. They unfortunately lost Nosh because of it, but they picked up what was 11 eliminations by the end of the game. I think 7 on the Omzo going into the moving zones. This game, it's not been so successful. That same strategy, this is right here is a prime example of what happens when it doesn't work, right? They got aggressive for the tags. They got the tags, but they have no shield, no heals, running out of materials because of it. If they start to get hit up a little bit, it could be absolutely over for them.
Yeah, that's the worst position we've seen him in so far today. Take a look here. Tragic's Day and Jamper, who are jumping right back into the competition. 266 points now, putting themselves very comfortably up in the top 3 here. They already had a margins lead over Bucky, Peterbot, and Macwood, who've already also began their climb on up to the top after that first victory royale that we saw there to kick things off, and then a second place 9 eliminations to follow up behind it. So from 19 straight to top 5 here. They're back in the running.
I saw something scary. I saw something very scary, which is Tragic's with the gold charge in his inventory. Come back to that in a second, but this is Zlem, who we saw obviously was 500 below. Tagged by the surge, and this was just him unfortunately being picked up. Not sure who ended up getting the actual siphon from that. What I wanted to say about Tragic's, start of the season, they won the first Cash Cup. I was really interested, really intrigued to see their play style. And they were the first team to utilize the charge shotgun to its efficiency. Tragic's with the charge shotgun, that combination is terrifying. And it's been a huge reason for their success throughout the entire season. The fact that he is holding a gold one in his inventory is very scary for the rest of the lobby. If they get to endgame in a good position, this team's getting double-digit elims.
Looking forward to seeing that happen. Jamper Day and Tragics at 276 right now as the current standings start to update. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are right here and now as well. 283 at the top.
There we go. Elam in the feed from Tragics. On the scoped. Starting to call them already. Starting to feel it. See what's happening down in the POI of Catty Corner. We see Iomzo. Free agent, by the way. He's putting his name. Guy who's popped off. Any orgs interested in this man? He's clearly advertising he's a free agent. Smart man to put that in his username here. They're looking to make themselves away. Remember, these guys are struggling for heals, and this Kilo Mag may come in clutch here, as that'll potentially give them 3 minis each, depending on the supply that's left in there, which genuinely could save their game given the fact that they rotated in here.
I saw Osp catch a Elam in the feed as well, as they were equally on track yesterday. One of the few teams that did manage to pick up a victory royale here, now sitting down in 13th. Those teams that are just outside the bubble, just outside the top 10, can absolutely do big things. Keep that in mind. Acorn, Jack, and Slacks, though, looking for the tags here. This wide shot is going to reveal the field to us. Kanata, one of the few teams way down low with Agers there. On the other side, look at all the teams that have managed to get to these mountains early. These are the key positions you want to be in. And even if you're below the surge here, they have options to choose from as far as, like, you know, just targeting bases here.
Yeah, they can hold the players rotating in, which is D-Roller's team so far. Unfortunately, they're very healthy on materials, given they haven't had to rotate that far, but look at the surge, 284 below. Yomzo's team making that push earlier, not being as successful with those mid-game eliminations like they normally would have, really hindered their performance this game. And it could be devastating, given they are obviously one of our top teams in the leaderboards. They were first coming into this. I'm pretty sure they still are now. They're starting to get engaged. They're confident about this fight. They know they have to take it. They know they have to start hitting some shots to connect. This Jace team who's on the unfortunate end of their rampage. Let's see what they can do.
Yomzo looking to add to his accomplishments today as they're starting to push in onto this duo up top, but no, they're going to give it up.
It's active.
This might be the big mistake here. They had the advantage. There goes the edit. No, he gets caught with his pickaxe out once again there now, too. The Surge is going to counter the mini he just drank, and that's going to cost him everything. 48 below.
Engagement starting to go through. Yomzo's trying to outfield the Storm Surge. The other team knows, they hear this, they hear the audio, they know exactly what's happening. They know that Nosh, Degen, and Yomzo are getting really panicked now. They know that they need to make a push. They're probably just going to take advantage of that. But Nosh getting two headshots with the automatic sniper, but it's not enough. There's still 100 below, 17 above now 82 above. Degen in this as a solo. He could pick up Yomzo, but he has to now make the rotate, a max distance 5th zone. No pad on his name. Team's all stocked up right next to him. He could hit a one pump. He's got the gold charge in his inventory. Many that we've seen so far in this game. Is he going to manage to hit a shot? Is he going to be able to connect? Can he clutch it up? The launch pad hit? No.
Oh my gosh.
AV who's going to be doing that.
He jumps down, hits the shotgun pump as well. The well-timed. He just read him like a book there. That's going to be a free Elam for him on high ground. Once again, Bucky and Peterbot looking to play for high ground alongside Macwood. So they pulled zone favor, by the way, and then crank for height there, utilizing that key positioning, trying to go once again for the back-to-back, or in this case, another attempt at a big victory royale here to hop back into the conversation. Now, mind you, they are inside the top 4 at 266 right now, currently. These are as updated as they can be. 288. So Slacks, Acorn, and Jack via Elams have already pushed them or continue to keep them in the conversation here, but 3 points separate. Oh no, look at the upgrade right there. Acorn, Slacks, and Jack overtake first place now by a single point. Man, this is so close.
Remember what I said? This will be a double-digit elimination game for this team. Jamper doesn't have any heals in the inventory, but since I said that, Tragic just picked up 3 eliminations. Plenty of refreshes, but again, not able to get much materials or heals out of it. Look at the inventory from him right now. Obviously, no mats really to work with, though, and I gotta see how this first moving plays out. I want to see if they're trying to play sneaky in the back of the box, trying to get some shots, use the firepower of the gold weaponry that they have. They had that first zone pulled, so if they have the opportunity to get tags out the sky, and it's Spegu, who's unfortunately going to be one picked up from there on out. Shadow's also still in the back of the zone. He's out of there. He's made the lucky escape. Can the Harpoon come through the materials? If these players are really stacked, this could be okay. The big pots, unfortunately, not managing to connect with the Harpoon and pick them up. They're going to have to start their rotate, start their move, and it's Carey's team that's right next to them. Tragic's starting to be super aggressive and just jumping straight in the box. That, to me, suggests that they didn't manage to get many materials out of that, potentially just Siphon, and they're now at the back of the zone in at a rough spot.
Yeah, they're going to need a little bit more if they want to survive this here. This is why they're walking through enemy builds right now. They're on the layer of, what's that? Niddle and Clarity. Yes, Casker right in front. They're starting to close in as well. Look at all the builds here. They're realizing, hey, there's going to be a fight that might just break out here soon, but no, instead they go ahead and take their own layer out to the sides here. And this is the battle that we expected. They're getting closer and closer now. Niddle's out in the open, holding the shot here. No one's firing just yet. They want to make sure they can get it. They're not going to find the one they're looking for. Going into the zone to cut him off here. Day's on the other side. What can he do? Into the box he goes. The tracking is good, but not good enough as Tragic does get taken out there. He is very, very low on HP. And no, Day's going to go down there, but he did catch someone in the process. I mean, look, the Elans, the points, they are definitely adding up, and they're almost to the top 10 now.
Almost the top 10, but still up all night. Macwood, Bucky, and Peterbot, the team who was into this way down in the top 10, roughly coming into the day, have really capitalized up on height. They've been on height every single match so far at some point and looking super good. Down on the low ground, though, Cold Elite still in this as a duo. They've lost Cease. The HP looking low. The materials almost lower to their name, too, and Cold starting to play pumps out. Can he start to connect with Casker at the back? That's Elite who picked him up, so that wasn't a Harpoon shot like I would imagine, but still, that's his team collecting the valuable 4 points on that and the additional placement that came through. He's in the back of the tarp. The one my God, he's been picked up from behind.
Super unfortunate, but this is the big game that they needed to continue to jump their way back into this game here, essentially, after falling so early last game. Elite is looking like he does not want to give up, not just yet. There are weakened players everywhere. There are still points to be made if he can continue to keep his composure here. Jamper's going to be one of the few that are very, very weak on his low ground. Great 100 tag, but no, Stretch was fully HP'd up, and he is going to be able to tank through that shot. This is looking like a Peterbot, Bucky, and Mac would win right now, but Tragic's Day and Jamper are the real heroes here. They have stolen away so many points now, being one of the first teams to break into 300 plus digit territory, and Jamper is still racking them up. Yes, he finds another one as well, and there's the full finish. Down goes Commandment, the highlight man himself.
The highlight man himself. That's the double-digit eliminations as I called for. Jamper by 5. Tragic's down below actually loses out, so that's the gold charge lost from the team. Jamper, no materials, getting sprayed. No, fully picked up into the box. That's AV who triple lands straight in, but on height, it's a complete Miro, Jukes, and Booga take it. They've managed to claim high ground going into the final moving zone.
AV, Eden, and Deemer are looking for another victory royale here. Can they get it from the low ground? We're looking at a 2v3 situation. Eden is now officially down. 12 elims on the low ground as they manage to wipe up 2 full trios there in the final moments. On height, though, that little moment of quiet is one of the scariest things, because that means the top high ground team has managed to heal their way back into this game. They have just enough shields back in the rotations here, but Booga might as well be a dead man walking. He's going to have to jump on down and just go ahead and commit to this. He can't stay in the zone. He's going to go and deny the Siphon there. That's the best thing he can offer this team, but no, they steal it away. Miro shuts that down, cancels that. There's the HP he needs, and Miro follows up with an incredible shot.
The shot's connected from Miro, nothing but 145s clicking on the head to that controller stick, looking awfully strong going into the final game. I was wondering if Miro would have potentially choked, or Booga would have potentially choked that out by dropping down below and giving them the Siphon, but why would I ever not believe in Miro's ability to hit the headshots? The 142 down onto AV, the finish 104, and another 162 onto Deemer 2.
You just see the movement right there. He was ready for the action, and he knew exactly where the player was going to be in the tracking. That's that controller movement that people are just sleep on, right? The ability to move and fire and stay fluid like that is the difference. It makes it so hard to track there. And listen, big win for them. They are back in this.
They started to dwindle a little bit. They were 9th coming into this game when all the other teams started to take it away. I would definitely think they're going to be up in our top 3-ish right now. We'll have to throw it back over the desk to find out the exact placements.
Thank you guys so much. NA East is just wide open right now. These leaderboards have absolutely exploded. The teams that we thought were doing well yesterday, game 2 has come forth, and all these trios have said, you know what? Day 2, double points. All right, let's go ahead. I'd like to cash out, and I'd like to ante up right now because we're coming for those leaderboards, boys. So much has transpired in just the initial 3 games here. I cannot believe what it is, and I am seeing it, of course, coming back to this Miro. I mean, so I love that these guys, and Reese kind of points out that, like, you know, Booga goes down. It's almost like a debated moment, though, right? Like, he jumps down, you're like, oh, there's a guy right above me. Let me just edit this out. And then Miro's like, yes, edit of this code. Let me walk through and hit a 200 on your dough.
Yeah, a little weird play there from AV, right? He does go actually outside of the cover that he had to pick up that Elim onto Booga, but since Bucky actually got the knock credit for that, AV didn't get anything of that. He didn't get any siphon, no nothing, so kind of exposed himself for no reason there. But nonetheless, they ended up finding themselves in second with a bunch of Elim, sneaking in the top 10 there. As you can see, AV, Deemer, and Eden. We saw a little highlight reel from AV picking up a couple Elims, but Jamper, Day, and Tragic stealing the show with 338 points, 100 points above the team I was just talking about in 10th place there. So they have, you know, created a very nice cushion for themselves. But Dukes, Mira, and Booga, as Reese had just mentioned, they were in 9th place before that game. With that huge victory out there, they boost themselves all the way back up into 2nd place, trailing by only 14 points.
Yeah, 4 teams now in the 300 club. You can see, I mean, Jamper, Day, and Tragic's incredible scenes. Obviously, 2nd place wasn't good enough for them at FNCS. They are going for broke here in the Grand Royale, and they're in they're very steady positions with 3 games to go as well. We've got to take a look at some of the eliminations here as well. You can see Cease, Cold, and Elite there in 47 eliminations right now in 6th position as well. I mean, Miro is officially a hero. We've said it time and time again here as well. This guy can clutch up. We've seen constant record breaker, multiple FNCSs, and you have a team as well with, you know, Duke and Booga is looking mighty impressive. But it's officially become the Wild West out there, fellas. Like, everyone now knows that there is such little time. It's Cowboyville, and everyone's invited. It's one of these situations where every team now knows that they're looking at the leaderboards. They're clearly studying this as well. They know exactly what's up. They're kind of keeping a close eye now because so much money on the line, so little time.
So suscríbete para acompañarnos y adiós ya.
There are 3 games
Una
left in
hora.
this now.
Muchísimas gracias por el apoyo y adiós. Gracias, gracias.
20th position here as well. We can start to see other
Gracias,
teams.
ahora sí.
We've seen a little bit of, you know, we've seen like Hospital
Gracias.
Visual,